Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm Chris. This is my Zepbound journey. This is week 36 Wednesday weigh-in. Every Wednesday I weigh in and I tell you how much weight I lost the previous week and what my week was like, and try to incorporate a few other things with my Wednesday weigh-in. So I'm not a doctor. I am just a 58.999-year-old woman. I will be 59 this Saturday. Getting to it'll be the 1 year countdown to 60, which the decade birthdays are pretty special. 50 was special, 40 was special. I mean, every birthday's special at this age, but the decade ones seem to kind of, cause a little bit of introspection for me. So this is week 30. This is my 36-week shot that I did in my arm, actually, rather than in my stomach. I was mixing it up a little. And when I started Zepbound the last day of February this year, I did 8 weeks at 2.5 milligrams, 24 weeks at 5 milligrams, and 4 weeks at 7.5 milligrams. I'm getting ready. Next week, I'll break into my second box of 7.5. And I am not a turtle. Turtles, there are a lot of turtles. Most people are turtles. I was fortunate to be kind of a hyper responder, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't hard work. I hear a lot of people on here that will be very negative about losing weight quickly. And while it probably it's not recommended by doctors to lose 3 pounds a week, but I'm happy with the way that I did it. I'm happy with the way that Zepbound helped me. So just because I'm not a turtle doesn't mean it was easy for me. It was still hard, and there were a lot of things that I did that I completely changed my habits, my energy and my mindset around food. I'm exercising regularly. So I created this channel to share with everyone what has worked for me, especially if you're starting later in life. And most of the people that follow my channel are my age or older. It's like 50 plus. So I don't know how many are 50, but I think in like the 55 plus category is the majority of my friends who are out there. Hello, friends. And the people that comment regularly, and most of them are my age or in their 60s or 70s. And it can be a little harder when you're older. Primarily, I would think, because your metabolism hits a brick wall, and I mean a big brick wall. Like things that I used to be able to do to lose weight, like go on Slim Fast for 2 weeks and shrink a couple sizes, those things were not working for me the older I got and the slower my metabolism went. And regardless of, working out harder or eating less food, for me, Zepbound was a huge game changer for me, because it allowed me to do these other things without feeling like I was starving, and without helping me to not think about food. And also alcohol was for me a huge game changer. So another thing, biggest game changers for me were protein, exercise, specifically walking, weightlifting. Mindful eating was huge for me, and I have been trying to mindfully eat. I bought a book on it a few years ago, and I never really, I occasionally would think about it, but I do pay much more attention to what I'm eating. And I remember my grandma Jub used to say, chew and chew and chew and chew and chew. I don't know if I was a fast eater at that age. Actually, when I was young, I was very skinny, got teased for being skinny. I was very scrawny. And so eating was not a problem, nor was my metabolism. I couldn't keep weight on up until the time I hit 13. So I had a few good years of, chasing the ice cream man and eating ice cream, eating whatever I wanted, but not very long. And then the other game changer is using Zepbound as a support tool. It's not what did everything, but for me, it's been very helpful. And if Zepbound has not worked for you, I mean, if you're here, you're probably either on a GLP-1 or thinking about a GLP-1. If it doesn't work for you, there are a lot of exciting things on the horizon that I'm excited about, because I think that I will end up taking some form of something. I feel that the Zepbound that I'm taking did something in my body that nothing else did, that helped enable me to do all these other healthy things. There was something missing in my body. This dual agonist turned off the eating switch in me. Now, just because it didn't work for you, there are things like retatrutide that are coming out that are triple agonist. There are all kinds of oral tablets and liquids that the Eli Lilly is coming out with one. There's a lot of fake ones out there too. I see all these commercials that honestly are BS. Be careful what you buy. It's not real tirzepatide. If it's not coming from Eli Lilly, it's, GLP-1 like. So really research what you're taking. So I'm going to get into this. So part one, my turning point. Before I started Zepbound, I had gotten to like maximum girth, very tired. I was exhausted all the time. My joints ached, my back hurt. Simple things like climbing stairs. 2024 is when I started noticing, wow, and I live in a 2-story house and my bedroom's upstairs. So several times a day I would go up and down the stairs, and I one day actually had to physically hang on to the rail and like pull myself up. I was so tired and everything hurt so much, and carrying groceries was tough. Everything kind of left me out of breath. I felt trapped in a body that I didn't reflect how I felt inside. Like, I was really uncomfortable. I woke up tired, stiff, discouraged. But it wasn't just like weight loss. So it really wasn't just weight loss that made me think of this. It was getting my life back and feeling more comfortable. I was supposed to go to my 40-year reunion in 2024, and I did not go. I didn't feel like myself. My daughter Shannon was getting surgery on her ear, so I had to skip it. And the months that followed that, I actually helped from across the country, because my reunion was in California and I live in Pennsylvania. And so I had some friends, 4 friends from high school, that I helped on the planning committee a little bit with some of the pre-planning. And one of the girls who was on the committee with me, who was one of my very best friends, died of breast cancer a few months ago. And she actually was always in very good shape, like never overweight. It wasn't a weight thing for me. It was just, anyone my age has lost people. When I was younger, like up until about the time I was 50, I didn't lose a lot of people to anything, to cancers, to I was over 50 when my dad died. So my close circle was pretty intact, but the last 9 years I've lost a lot of friends. And it just seems to be more and more. And losing the one good friend, before her kids had just gotten married, and she didn't have grandkids from her kids, and it causes you to sit back and think. Something inside me shifted. I was, and still am, very sad. I realized how fragile and precious life is. And I generally am a thankful person every day, but having a bunch of friends who are now sick and and undergoing like medical stuff makes you think. And with my own, like my thoracic being out, my pain and in my knees and my back and my neck, there were physical things going on. And so I realized, not through necessarily like my friends dying of cancer, but through, it made me think about, I felt like the things that I had, the pain and the stiffness, even though I have a bulging disc in my thoracic, bulging disc in my neck and my knee, and but that it could not hurt to lose weight. And watching my friends struggle with serious health issues made me ashamed that I wasn't taking better care of my own body, if that makes sense. I want to make the most of my years ahead, to be healthy and strong and vibrant into old age. Maybe I won't. Maybe I have cancer and I don't know it. Like, nobody knows, right? But there are things that I could do to feel better now. I knew that there was something that I could do to feel better now. So my good friend dying was a big wake-up call for me. So on February 28th of 2025, I decided to make some changes, not temporary, but like transformational changes to feel better. I didn't have an idea of how much weight I wanted to lose. I just knew that I wanted a full body reset built on strength and nourishment and consistency. At the time, I wasn't sure prior, like the first month of this year, I just like added some protein. I started looking at what people in their 60s, because I'm watching all the 60-year-old videos and Bob and Brad, the physical therapists, and things. I was really in a search of feeling better. And I'm afraid of drugs. Anybody that's been watching this channel knows that I'm not a big fan of big pharma. I was worried about growing, like horns out of my head or, side effects. I was like the most scared person starting Zepbound, which sounds a little ridiculous. I absolutely have right now nothing but good things to say about it, except that I'm cold all the time. But other than that, it was completely transformational for me. So I didn't think, I thought I'm going to do this because my daughter had lost 80 pounds, but I didn't think it would work when I first started it. I thought I hope it works. I don't think it will work because nothing ever had worked like long term for me before. I have lost and gained weight many times. It always came back. But seeing my daughter lose 80 pounds the year before on Zepbound gave me hope, because I think, well, genetically, like, we're similar. We look like twins, actually, my middle daughter and I. And I thought, well, if it works on her, maybe it'll work for me. And she even teases me because I said to her, she said, I'm going on Zepbound. You should try it, Mom. Well, first of all, hurtful, because she was like, you need to lose weight, which I did. But I said, well, you go first, which she's my wild one. So of course she would go first. And she said, oh, you just want to see if I die? And I said, yes. I said, no, I don't want to see you die, but I'm terrified of these, anything that you put in your body that you can't undo. After you do that shot, like, you're stuck for a week, like, or however long it would last. And I'm terrified of that. So it was surprising to me as well that it worked. So I listened to my doctor, who said, I'd be happy if you tried it. Here I am 8 months later. This is the longest health streak in my recent adult life, definitely. Probably since, I always worked out up until like probably I'd say around the COVID years. And even then I would work out, but not like before. I was like, I would run all the time. Weight still kept coming on because I was also drinking, and I loved having wine at night, and my portions were definitely way too big. Although initially I thought, oh, my portions weren't that big. And I've always also eaten healthy food in addition to eating not healthy food. So, it's been 20 years since I felt this good and this balanced and this at peace in my own body, probably more than that. And I don't know if you noticed, usually I just look at the screen and talk, but I feel like I babble. So I've written down some notes for myself, trying to make my videos not so babbly. So anyways, let's talk about Zepbound, because it helped me take the first step. It was not a magic pill. It quieted the food noise, and it took that away so that I could focus on building better habits. And it made it, for me, painless to not want a piece of cake somewhere. For me, it was nothing short of a miracle, because I'm a very visual person. I smell cake, and I like my want for it was very strong. I love food. I still love food. This helped me stop when I was satisfied, something that I had very little ability to do on my own. Because it would usually turn into I would feel like I was deprived, and it would turn into a binge at the end of 3 days or 4 days. It helped me focus on, because I was afraid of Zepbound and all of the things that I read about, losing weight on Zepbound, but actually losing weight anyway, in any manner where you lose 3 pounds a week or more, you lose muscle mass. And I was terrified, because I was feeling so weak anyways, that I really didn't want muscle loss on top of everything. So it helped me control my cravings. I focused on protein and hydration. It helped me break emotional eating patterns, that's just amazing. And honestly, it helped me stop craving wine at night. And that is amazing, because I really love wine. And this week I had 1 glass with my husband. I don't think I'll ever go back to drinking, 2 huge glasses of wine at night. It just made me feel, when I do it, like when I was on a cruise, it makes me realize how crappy I feel. And I don't want to feel that way. So when I started Zepbound, those desires went away very quickly for me. And here's what I learned. Zepbound is the tool. It's not everything. But it definitely was one of the most important things. It was the most important instrumental thing to get me to be able to do this. It worked though, because I combined it with prioritizing protein, movement, and mindfully eating. The medication helped me start and continues to help me do this, but lifestyle changes were imperative for me. There are a lot of younger people that I follow on here that are wonderful. I love to hear them talk about their journey. Many of them did not change what they ate. They're I'm not going to do it. And good for you. If you can lose weight and do that. For me, being close to 60, mine started out with me wanting to feel better, and continuing the way that I was eating and drinking before would not help me feel better. So the foundation is protein. And I know I don't try to get 100 grams a day. I don't track it per se. I track everything and lose it so that I know what I ate. And as you all know, I track it in my journal every day, Sunday through Sunday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, because I want to be able to look back and see if things start going sour, what I need to change, what's working and what's not. But protein completely reshaped my body and my appetite. It kept me fuller than anything else. It is processed slower. It protects your metabolism while you lose fat. It's just like, if you are going to do this, I would recommend eating protein. And even like my sister who's had a kidney transplant, back in the day, they would say, don't eat a lot of protein. And if you have chronic kidney disease, protein, you have to be careful with proteins. I don't know what they're doing about that. I know that my sister's kidney doctor recommended that she go on Zepbound, and she started 2 weeks ago, and I think she's down like 6 pounds, and she has a kidney transplant, and he said, yeah, that like qualifies as chronic kidney disease. So I'm not quite sure how that goes. If you are a kidney patient or you have kidney problems, check with your doctor. Well, you have to check with your doctor anyways, because you can't get these drugs without, I think, with the doctor prescribing it. So anyways, your body will burn muscle along with fat when you're losing weight, and protein will help you. That's just how the process works. And too much muscle loss can slow your metabolism. And since mine was like non-existent, I did not want that and make it harder to keep weight off long term. So protein and strength training, if you're over the age of 50, I mean, you start losing muscle, I think, in your 40s. I'm gonna have to look this up. I think I throw a different number out every year. You start losing muscle at a very young age, right? So it helps to offset your muscle loss and keep your body strong while you're losing weight, so you don't feel weak and you don't feel tired. And something that I wish more people understood: when you're carrying 100+ pounds on your body, extra pounds, not pounds, it is okay to lose a little bit more than a pound a week. You know, I get called out, especially early on when I was almost 300 pounds. I felt good losing the whole time. That's my experience. That might not be your experience, but that's mine. When you are so overweight, your body has more stored energy to pull from. And so the first few months can move faster. And for me, it was encouraging, but the key is to do it intelligently. Fuel your body, don't starve it. Aim for getting protein at each meal. I did not aim, I kind of briefly looked at it. Is it 100 grams of protein? No, but I would eat like a chicken breast at dinner, and I'd have a sliced turkey from not deli meat. Deli meat's like really bad for you with nitrates and stuff, and cottage cheese. And I have been really big on trying not to get it through protein powders. It upsets my stomach. I don't like it. I will drink Fairlife shakes, but not all the time. It'll be like if I don't have time for breakfast and we're going to work out, I will drink one of those. And I would focus on foods like chicken, fish, a lot of meat, which I've cut back on because of my recent numbers, cottage cheese, eggs, and the occasional protein shake. And when I did start adding more protein to my diet, I felt better. I felt fuller for longer. It processes slower. I mean, Zepbound in itself slows things down in your stomach, but protein also is more filling than other foods. So I had lots of energy, and I was never a grazer between meals, and I was never a late night eater. Like I guess during my worst eating times, when my husband was out of town, eat this is going way back, but not eat the food I was cooking for dinner, but I would start eating like at 4 o'clock and eat until really 7 o'clock. I don't like going to bed full. It makes me feel yucky. So my bad time for me was evening power eating more than I should have. So also eating like big bowls of pasta with butter for dinner, just that. So I didn't do that anymore, but I am finding that incorporating pasta back in right now and fruits is helping me to feel even better than I did doing primarily protein and veggies for the first 7 months. So When I began, because my back was out and my knees and I was having a lot of pain, walking was all I could handle. I didn't start jogging until recently, and my jog is a 15-minute mile, which is very slow. That still feels very fast to me, but it's slow. Like people do 10-minute miles that are real runners, and but you know what? It makes me feel good, and it gives me a little sweat. And I run in a weird way that I try not to ever have both feet off the ground at the same time, because it's less jarring for my back. So it's a weird stride, but you know what? I don't know anybody when I'm out running. I go over near my Y and go up this hill that's near there, and I don't care. So I look real goofy, but I enjoy doing it. So, and it was very hard at first. My husband and I would walk at the lake near here, and I got just super winded walking with him, where he would be like, "Are you okay?" Which also was like, please stop calling attention to the fact that I can't breathe. But I kept going, and it was very short. It was like 1 mile. 10 minutes became 20. There was that book, like, I don't know if it was 1 minute or one step. I'll have to look it up, where I watched this young man who actually he also had Down syndrome like my daughter, and he was talking about how this particular book helped him because he would just very, very small incrementally add one minute to his walk, or one extra step up the stairs. I'm at the Y now. I add one extra pull. I don't even know what it's called. Not set, one pull. Like instead of doing a set of 8, I do a set of 9. And so incremental small changes may help you to not injure yourself, and also help you to slowly build up, with it being a little bit less painful. So, but working out clears my mind, and I didn't notice until a couple weeks ago when I was picking up pool toys with my husband that I didn't hurt, that it took a full 8 months of this all the time, working out almost daily, skipping a few days here and there. But it has helped me feel so much better. I added weightlifting to the walking, and that's what I feel for this big weight loss period, the initial taking collagen, which I had been doing for 6 months or a year before because my joints hurt so bad. Didn't really start helping and my hair was getting very thin, because I had gone through menopause last year, and my hair was getting super thin, and I was very achy. So I did collagen. So I've continued that through the whole thing. And then my Shapiro hair care that I love, that I honestly feel like has helped when I was like losing here. They give you this stuff, this drops that you do shampoo, conditioner, drops. You're supposed to do drops twice a day. I do them once a day. And then there's a mousse. And that has helped during this whole journey. But the strength training, which I've gone up very slowly on, and walking has helped my body shrink in a way that I've been really happy with. Also, today, for the first time, I jogged 5 miles instead of 4, because my birthday's this weekend and I've been wanting to do 5 miles. I did it very slowly. It took me 77 minutes, but I get to listen to my music, and the leaves were falling, and it's a really good Zen time for me. So if you can, you don't have to. I didn't start here. I started not being able to walk upstairs, and I started using soup cans in my garage and just doing like a set of 8. Then I had a little set of 2-pound weights that I had in a room with me, and I would do 3 sets of 10, just little, to build my biceps, which still they're not poking out. My skin's like I'm getting smaller, and my muscles aren't filling in, but I am thinking that, this is a before 60 goal for me. So I'm hoping by this spring, I will see some little inkling of muscles, but I am happy with the way that the weight is coming off doing these things, not filling in with muscle, but it's kind of proportionally okay. So, But lifting light weights, if you get it cleared with your doctor, or lifting soup cans, just try to do one more. If it's even like once a week, do a set of 2 or do a set of 1. Lift a soup can once. If that's what you can do, that's where you start where you can and add what you can in a slow manner so that you don't hurt yourself. Because I took a stretching class on the cruise ship, and I feel like I ripped a muscle in my inner thigh. So I had to nurse that since I got back from last vacation. But the combination of the regular walking, light lifting, which is getting heavier, has made me feel stronger and better than I have in years. The last thing that I would say is mindful eating. And like I said, there was a book that I read about mindful eating. And I don't always do it, but I very much try to incorporate it and pay attention to it. Mindful eating. If you are eating and watching TV or looking at your phone and not enjoying your food, you don't even feel like you ate. It's this, or for me, it does. So I like food so much. I still like food. Like some people say, oh, I don't want to eat. I love food. I love cooking. I love food. I'm just afraid to eat things that have too much fat or are icky in them because I don't like to feel sick. So I do stop and think, am I hungry now? And not just eat automatically. And I also think, more importantly, as I'm eating through my meal towards the end, am I still hungry? And I before was always the clean plate club, and my dad, God rest his soul, one of my favorite people in the world, was big on finishing your whole dinner, because we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and food was not to be wasted. So food for me stopped being something emotional, and it started being like nutrition, like to live, not to make me feel better about something that was wrong in my life. Does that make sense? It's just food. Food now, I look at it more as, what can I do to make my body feel better? And still, it has to be delicious. I'm big on something that's, who wants to eat something you don't like? You don't. So, what being 100 pounds down feels like. I move easily. My back doesn't hurt except for that one spot in my thoracic that I'm not going to get fixed, but I'm getting a few little like pain injections to help with that, but it's not as bad as it was. My joint pain is almost gone. I'm not out of breath from simple tasks. I have energy. I am more confident. And I am still shocked when I try pants on that are like a 12 or 14. I automatically will grab a bigger size. I've gone a few times to go clothes shopping, and they're comfortable. Jeans are more comfortable now in general because they're kind of stretchy. A lot of them have stretch to them. And when I was young, I don't remember any jeans with stretch in them. I had dittos, and those kind of had a stretch, but they do seem to be making jeans more comfortable. But I am, losing weight isn't for me about numbers on the scale. It has been about comfort, feeling better, strength, being able to keep up with my grandkids, and honoring the time that I have left in a body that I'm comfortable in, and just trying to make, have the most energy and strength as I get older. So if you are starting today and you are thinking that you are too old, you are not too old. You are never too old. People that start lifting weights in their 80s show gains in their muscle, in their bone. There are all kinds of studies out that show you are not too old. You are not too overweight. You are not too overweight to start. I felt awful when I started. You are not broken. You just have not found out the combination, or maybe you have found out the combination and you're following people like I do that are doing the same things you're doing and getting some ideas. But you're not broken. You just haven't found the exact formula, and you will if you try some different things that that you haven't tried. Like I hadn't tried Zepbound, and I was like, no way, I'll never do that. Now I'm like, no way, I'll never not do that. So it's interesting how life always surprises you, doesn't it? So start with the basics. Eat protein at every meal. Walk every day if you can, even if it's short walks. If you can't walk, if you can lift your arms, do that. I know I have so many friends who have painful conditions that I'm not trying to say just walk. I'm saying do what you can. And any little thing that you do today that you didn't do yesterday will help you. If you can, lift light weights a couple times a week, even if you get if you start with soup cans, or if you start with a paint jar, or if you start with nothing and you just lift your arm up, up and down, 3 sets of 10 while you're watching TV. Lift the remote up, lift both arms up, something, and then just do one more the next day, or try to do one more the next day. If you didn't hurt yourself the first day, which happens when you haven't done something in a long time. But small, consistent steps add up, whether you're a turtle or not a turtle. One day you will look back and not recognize the old you. I'm very content right now, and I hope that my friends out there, I'd love to hear what you're doing and what has been working for you. This community has been amazing. I think that I should add another thing to this. The community on YouTube, people that have kind things to say that are encouraging, makes me really, keeps me going. So wow, that came out of nowhere. People say the kindest things on here. And so I just want to thank you for being here and telling me the things that you're doing, because that's the last step. The really encouraging thing is to have friends that are also doing it, and to get, really good information from them. So if you're on a weight loss journey, especially if you're over 50, welcome to this community. Welcome to my page, or my, whatever you call this, page, YouTube, my YouTube channel. Welcome to this channel. If you share your goals in the comments below, I'd love to hear them, or how you're doing. And this was way longer than I thought it would be. It is never too late for you to feel amazing again, and I hope your journey is going along just fine. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.